welcome everybody. I'll share my screen and we'll get started. Um, let's see where I have things. I have them there. It is Friday Night Comics. We're so happy that you're here, and we're so happy that it's Friday night for some of you. And you know, it's Friday afternoon for our host. It's Saturday morning for some of you, I know. Anyway, it's all over the place, but we're happy to be here to celebrate comics. It's the We Believe in Comics Friday night workshops at the Sequential Artists Workshop. As a reminder, uh, Sequential Artists Workshop, or SAW, is a nonprofit, a 501c3 nonprofit. We have lots of classes and courses and things like that. You can find them at sawcomics.org. Coming soon, our big program, which we're really proud of. It's a year-long program in all the nuts and bolts of comics. It's called the Comic Certificate Program. It starts in September and it runs till about May. And that is the thing we're sort of telling the world about. So I'll give you another heads up about that in a moment. Next week in this slot, Friday night, also coming from Saturday, it'll be Finn McCabe. And Finn's done this before, and that'll be a fun time. Tonight, we are celebrating Corinne Newbegin, who is a CCA grad. This is the workshops we call CCAW. It's kind of hard to pronounce, but we do it. And that's super cool. We'll look at Corinne's work in a minute. So we do these 1 hour free trainings about the certificate program. So if you take a look at sawcomics.org, you can find out when the next one is. I'm gonna keep going. I want to say thank you to anybody who donated. It helps keep these events free. It helps us pay the instructors. It helps us give out scholarships to people that need it and keep this place running and all sorts of things. So we really appreciate that. All right, we'll get started. Please no inappropriate speech or imagery. Please keep during the sharing. Please keep it PG-13. Please share on social media. The hashtag Friday Night Comics or at Comics Workshop. You can also find us at members.sawcomics.org. And we like to keep these at 90 minutes. So let's watch the time like Annie says. That's 87 minutes from now, but there are lots of ways to share. And every week we do a PDF of your work. And excuse me, that'll be in the chat where to upload that. We put it on Seesaw Comics, and last week's PDF, for instance, looks like that. And it came from the graphic medicine event that we did. And here is some examples from that PDF. Was a really fun event. And you'll see more of those if you go to Seesaw Comics, and I'll put the link so you can be in this week's. Enjoy. I'm really glad that Corinne Newbegin is here because their travel comics are super beautiful, and the landscapes and things like that on their website are really beautiful. So I hope that they'll share that. And I'm really eager to do travel comics because I'm traveling right now. Okay. Corinne, are you ready to roll? I'm really glad you're here, and welcome from Santa Cruz.
Thank you. I am ready. I'm
I'm
ready
going to
to talk.
spotlight you then. Are you ready to get big on everybody's screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Can everyone hear me? Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Then I will share my screen
Welcome.
and we can get started. Yes, we will just share this. Okay. Can everyone see my screen?
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. So, everyone, thank you so much for coming. I'm super excited to teach this travel comics workshop with everybody here. So, without further ado, we will just go ahead and get started with this. So, the order of operations. First, I'm going to introduce who I am. Then we'll do our quick lecture on travel comics. What are they? Why would you do them? How would you go about it? Some examples, the exercise prompt, drawing time for said exercise prompt. I will be drawing along with you. But that's also, I think, a good time for if you have any questions for me, anything specific, that's the time to ask them. And then finally, of course, the show and tell. I'm sure the thing everyone's most excited about, getting to show off your fun work and seeing what everyone's done. So let's move forward. Who the heck am I? So obviously I'm an artist. I do comics, watercolor, gouache, zines, animation even. I graduated last year with my MFA in comics from CCA. I am based in Santa Cruz, but if you ask me where I'm from, that's kind of a difficult question to answer because I moved a lot as a kid and even as an adult. So the answer is kind of everywhere. The simple answer is North Carolina. But because I have moved a lot, that has kind of given me, a lot of background and appreciation for wanting to document the different places that I've been to and preserving, that stuff in artwork, whether it's plein air or comics, etc. This past year, I was fortunate to receive two artist residencies, one Gentile in Wyoming and the other Wild Acres in North Carolina. So I was doing some art there. And I'm a really big national park junkie and a road trip fiend. Grew up doing these, still love doing them. And again, that kind of really made documenting the travels and doing art either while on the road or afterwards reflective of my travels on the road became a really important part of my practice. So basically, when I was 23, I thought about what's going to make me happy and fulfilled in life, and I came down to three things, which was travel, art, and hanging out with my loved ones. So that's part of what inspired me to be like, let's do travel comics, let's teach it, let's get into it. Here's examples of my work if you are not already familiar. There's some plein air at the top, some studies as well, and then my comic work as well, which is very inspired, if not directly by my trips, then at least by nature, environments, etc. So yeah. Now on to travel comics. What are they? In short, it's comics that you make about your trips and travels, pretty self-explanatory. But you can do them either during or after the trip. I think it's a little difficult to make a travel comic before you actually go on the trip. I do think they really range in tone. So they can be anything from reflective and personal to casual and lighthearted, or you can even go the educational route. If you, let's say you're going to a national park or some historic place and you want to write about the history of the place, that counts too in my book. I also think, and this to me is kind of what differentiates it a little bit from other comic forms and genres, is I think they're very structurally and artistically flexible, but they still generally feature that sequence of drawings and text to portray an event or moment. So things like panels, borders, and stuff, I think it's a little more optional than maybe like an action comic or something like that. But again, what kind of sets it apart from just urban sketching or just sketching in your notebook is that generally there's some sequence of events, there's some form of narrative still involved, which still makes it a comic. Why would you do this? I think they're fun, so that's a pretty good reason to do it. It also makes a great souvenir. It's a good way, I think, to really memorialize your trip, your vacation, what have you, and or as a journaling thing to kind of reflect on the most impactful parts of that trip for you. And when you look at it, because you spent so much time on this thing, whether on location, via plein air, or afterwards, I feel like when you look at travel art that you've done for yourself, it really transports you back to that location and re-immerses you in that memory. It does that for me, at least. I think they're more personal than things like urban sketching or plein air because you get to put your insight into it, you get to put your commentary. But it's also more representative than just journaling, just writing out your stuff, because you can put, how do you want to draw or illustrate what you're looking at? You can capture that as well. So it's that nice blend. And it's also a little more stylized, I think, than scrapbooking or art junk journaling, since typically that involves like ticket stubs or ephemera, things like that, which is also a great way to remember your travels. But this, I feel like drawing it is still a really good way of like, that's your hand. It's how you are seeing what you've experienced. So essentially, it's the perfect combo of the interior and the exterior working together to preserve that memory of your impactful trip. And you get to choose what you want to preserve. Here are some examples of travel comics I've done and the different forms they can take, even just from one artist. So this first example was, I think my first year at CCA, I had to get there for orientation. So I was traveling through San Francisco on my own in the morning. So there's not a lot of panels, but it is still kind of highlights moment to moment of that morning. And I chose the humorous route. The second one, there is more of a structured paneled approach, but I did this traditionally with watercolor, and this was more of a reflection on a trip that I had done years ago, my first camping trip. So I'd had several years to stew on this and decide how I wanted to, capture that moment, what it meant for me, and what I realized it meant for me later down the road. And this third example is kind of more straightforward Instagram comic layout, just square panels. And it's literally just this funny thing that happened on a trip. So it can look like anything, really. You can have panels, you can not have panels, you can have color, it can be traditional, it can be digital, anything. An obligatory Eleanor Davis shout out. If you are not familiar with her work, I highly recommend, especially in the travel comics area, You and a Bike and a Road. When I read that book, I was like, this is exactly what I want to make. It's what I've been making, and I want to make him better, just like she's doing. So this entire book is about her solo bicycle trip. I believe it was from like Texas to Georgia. And just she was drawing these on the road while she was doing them. I think she was first posting them to social media and then she collected them into a book. And it's fantastic and a fantastic example of travel drawing and how it can look. So we can see in this first example, very limited use of conventional panels. And when she does use it, it's specifically to focus on a small moment in time, like this bird flapping, just to narrow in on that sequence. And she adds, her thoughts on what she's seeing. But even though she's not using conventional panels, she's still dividing the page. So we can see here, this road is still, I don't know if you can see my mouse, but this road is dividing the page to kind of show this moment where she's biking along the Alpine is separate from the moment where she's calling someone and crying about potentially giving up. And even these two, because we can see her on the phone, are related. Then there's this one with the ant just right underneath, just the white space as the border to show we don't quite know when that happens, but we get that it's connected, but still kind of separate. And even on this final page here, she's using the speech bubbles to kind of lead the reader into the narrative, kind of the sequence of how this conversation happened. So even if you're not using panels, you can still get across either separate moments or a sequence that happened in time or just one moment. And you can choose different ways that you want to represent it. I really love her work. Highly recommend this book. All right, so we've gone over what they are, and you're like, great, I want to do a travel comic, but I don't know what to draw. I'm overwhelmed. What do I include? Pretty much, it's what do you want to remember? That should be front and forefront of when you're making this comic. What do you want to remember? Whether it's that evening after, like, the evening of your trip, one of the days, or it's when you come home, what stands out to you? But if you want more specific examples, you could draw food. Food is really great and easy to draw, and I think it's a really impactful part of a trip. So, what did you eat? What looked good? The environment, nature, buildings, architecture, your hotel room, the airplane, anything. Art, if you went to a museum, if you saw some public art, maybe some street art, I think that's really good to include. Maybe it's just a moment you want to remember. Maybe something funny happened or something heartfelt happened, or you just had a very peaceful moment in a chaotic life otherwise, and you just kind of want to capture that on the page to just remember, yeah, this felt really good for me, and I want to remember this. It could be animals. It could be a local species. It could be a cute dog or a cute cat. Other people. It could be people watching. It could be some conversation you overheard that you're like, that's funny. I want to write that down and I want to illustrate the people that did it. You could draw yourself. What did you do? What were you wearing? How did you feel? Did you have a cute outfit every day? You could draw your cute outfit every day. Photographs. What are your favorite photos and why? Any noteworthy conversation that accompanied it? And photos honestly are a great reference. Let's say you don't want to spend 30 minutes drawing some temple you're seeing right then and there. You can just take some pictures and then go back to your hotel room and draw it. And commentary, of course. What did you think? What did you say in that moment looking back? How are you feeling? That text accompanying the imagery. So some more examples. This was from my trip to Korea last October that I did with my mom and my sister. So this was what I started drawing on the plane. You can see I drew all the food that I had on the plane, what I was watching on the plane, what I tried to watch on the plane. My pen exploded, but I was like, you know what? That happened. Free stuff that I got on the plane. This is just kind of what was that plane ride like for me. I even drew the clouds because I looked out the window and thought those clouds look great. Let me try to draw these. And I was doing all this traditionally with just a pen. So it doesn't have to be digital, it can be traditional, whatever you want to do. And then this, when I arrived in Korea, there was this funny moment where my sister and I didn't know where we were. We were in separate terminals and didn't realize it. Us going home, this moment where my mom wanted us to change hotel rooms like 3 times. And you can see I'm not drawing like the entire thing. It's just the building and different arrows to kind of show this 3-hour event just because I wanted to include it because I thought it was funny, but I didn't want to take up all this space with it. And of course, the food that we ate.
Mhm.
So now it's time to draw. Speedy lecture.
Yeah.
So, what I'd like you to do is think of a time that you traveled. It could be your most recent trip, it could be your first trip, your favorite trip, or a really impactful trip. I'd like you to draw a 1-page travel comic about that trip. You can highlight the greatest hits, or you can focus on one special memory from it, whichever you want to do. What really do you want to draw out? The borders, the panels, if you want to color it, the medium you're choosing, that is all up to you. If you want to do watercolor, color pencil, go for it. If you want to do just a simple black and white pencil thing, go for it. But I would like to challenge you to try to include at least one series of 2 to 3 sequential drawings and some text, ideally with at least one speech bubble. So if you'd like some little more direction, try to go with this. Again, use whatever medium you feel comfortable with. Feel free to use reference photos, whether online or your own. And above all, have fun. This comic is ultimately for you. Like, it's fun to share travel comics, it's fun to see other people's stuff. But at the end of the day, I think what's great about these is that they are for you. You're capturing what you want to remember and what you want to see. So, yeah, the drawing time can now begin. If there's any questions, feel free. I'm going to, let me see.
And
I'm
I'm going
going,
to encourage people, just for the sake of a little fun, is to tell in the chat where your trip takes place, just to get stir things up a little bit. I'm gonna write mine's Gainesville, Florida. Or, oops, I spelled it wrong.
okay.
And I've got what you have on the screen.
Mhm.
I have that in the chat. So
Okay,
so if you
awesome.
want to be sharing your iPad at some point soon, that's fine.
Yes, if that's
Okay.
in the chat, I'm going to go ahead and share my iPad. I will draw along with everybody.
Great. Philly, Los Angeles, Paris, Japan and Korea, London, Barcelona. Right. Um, the plane ride from DFW to DCA. Whoa. Soviet Union, 1977. So, Corinne, what kind of time limit should we have for this?
I'm going to say about 30 minutes. If people need more time, we can stretch it to 45, but let's start with 30 minutes and
I
we'll
think,
see how people are feeling.
yeah, I think that sounds right. And some people will definitely be done by then.
Okay,
And as they're showing, other people can finish up.
okay, perfect.
Do you want a timer? Well, actually, I can't do it because I'm going to leave soon, um, but there is a Zoom timer app, or else,
I can do a timer on my phone.
okay, we'll do it. We'll do it on your phone. Oh, great. Judith's going to do about Amtrak. Paula's going to do about Disneyland. Camping in Michigan. Soviet Union, 1977. I'm really glad that people are writing these things down. Missile launch officer days in South Dakota. Wow, Edgar. So, Corinne, one more question. Do you
Sure.
have an idea already? Did you come here with an idea, or are you going to be sort of doing it on the fly?
A little on the fly. I was
Yeah.
stuck between 2 different trips, but I think I've narrowed it down. I have my reference photos off on my other screen here, but I'm going to do a trip I did earlier this year. It was the Dark Sky Park to Park road trip where we drove from Death Valley to Big Basin, and those are both dark sky parks. And I want to do when we were looking for the blue pupfish in Death Valley because I had not seen one before.
Whoa,
That's the moment that I'm deciding to do.
great. I don't even know what that is.
It's a cute little fish that like only lives in this one random desert hole.
Great. All right, we'll find out
Mhm.
if you actually find it.
Were there any questions in the chat or everyone
I'm
just
not seeing any.
okay, awesome. I will just draw.
Yeah, I love that. And again, I'll be out of here in about 9 minutes, but I'll hand you off to Darlene.
Mhm.
Heather's doing a Newfoundland hike. Black flies were so thick, you open your mouth up for free protein.
Oh,
Oh my gosh. Great Barrier Reef. Wow. Maine to Massachusetts. India, Alice is doing. Scotland, Walter is doing. Great.
and then is my iPad sharing? I have
Yep,
it.
we see
Okay,
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we see
Mhm.
it.
perfect.
Purple clouds. Or a fingernail.
Or a fish.
It's a fish. And I will say, if you are someone that really likes drawing landscapes, or you're really drawn to doing landscapes as whether plein air, sketching, or part of your comics, you will secretly get really good at drawing environments.
I have to say, these trips are amazing. People are taking.
Yeah, I can't wait to see the comics that come.
Mine's like a 10-minute away trip. Over to I'm not a traveler around the block, but you could still do a travel
Yeah,
or comic on it might be kind of funny.
I was gonna say a trip to the grocery store technically counts.
All right, everybody, I'm leaving you in the hands of Darlene Campbell and Corinne, and I'm heading out. I can't wait to see more about this pupfish adventure, and I look forward
Yeah.
to watching the replay and seeing everybody else's comics and checking out the PDF. So I will see you all.
Okay. Bye.
Bye, Darlene. Bye, Corinne.
Bye.
Bye.
Everybody else get to work.
For reference, we have a little over 18 minutes left, so we are okay.
And I just put the challenge in the chat in case some of you forgot it. Including some text and at least one speech bubble. At least one series of 2 to 3 sequence drawings.
Mhm.
Oh, is that a map they're pointing to?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Little bit of a story when I used to work uh, in a public space and somebody came in for directions and I pulled out a paper map and they ran out the door. They were so scared. Like, what's this lady doing with a paper map?
Nikki, it's about any trip that you took.
Oh, I hope those are good feelings, memories, Debbie. Yeah. There's just about 10 minutes to go.
Thank you.
Oh, I love that drawing right there.
Running out of space.
Nikki says, thanks. Evokes some happy memories from my time in India. Well, that would be nice. Hey, you guys could be wrapping it up 5 minutes. Whoops. It looks like we're at time. Is that right? Is
I
it
think so, yeah.
Is it Corinne? Is
It's
that how you pronounce
Korean.
Corinne?
Mhm.
Okay. I love to mispronounce. I don't do it on purpose, but I have this fear of mispronouncing everybody's name, so I do.
Mhm.
Corinne.
Yes.
Okay, that's very lovely. That's lovely.
I see someone has raised their
Their
hand.
hand already, Gail. Um, do you want to show your comic first since your page is already up, and then we could start sharing with the
Sure.
others? Okay.
Yep. I'll be quick and speedy so that we can get as many as we can. So I did mine on trying to see the Devil's Hole pupfish in Death Valley.
Mhm.
Composition, whatever, but again, it's for you. It doesn't have to be perfect. So basically, I decided I'd been to Death Valley a few times, but I'd never seen the pupfish. I just heard about it. So this time I was like, okay, I've seen a lot of the big things in Death Valley. I want to see this fish. And it's cute because it's blue. It's small and it's blue. And like there's not a ton of fish out that are like that bright, vibrant blue. So in addition to being kind of like an extremophile, it's this really cute little blue fish. So the Devil's Hole pupfish in particular, they live in this one kind of spot in the entire world. It was actually the site of some controversy because people wanted to reroute the water somewhere or something. They were like, no, this fish, it's going to literally kill all of them. And it's hard to get to. There's like an observation deck. I don't know if you can actually see the fish there, which I was learning when I was there. But there are a few other species around the area. So we decided to see this one other one that isn't as vibrantly bright blue, but is still pretty blue, but it's got some yellow in it too. I don't remember what it's called. It's like Amarillo or something like that. And the ranger had given us two recommendations on where to see them. And they also mentioned that there are lookalikes. There are some invasive species that look very similar to the pupfish, in size, sometimes a little bit in color. But the main thing is the pupfish is a little rounder. And it's the males, they have like this kind of very blue part of it when they're in mating season. So the first place we went to was nearby, and it was so windy, the water, was rippling all over the place, so we could barely see the fish. So I was literally staring at the water with my binoculars, trying
Wow.
to see if the fish was the pupfish or not. And we did see some, but it was very tricky because it was so windy. But then we went to the second place, and you could literally just walk right up to the pond and see the fish swimming around, and the water was so blue and so clean and so clear. It was really beautiful. And my fiance, who was kind of just going along with it to just humor me, got really invested into seeing the fish the more we got into it. So when we got to this pond, he was taking a lot of pictures because it was right there. You could just sit like 5 feet away from the fish. So that was the moment I decided to draw, just looking for this pupfish.
That's great. I like your speech bubble wins the prize for having the fish talk. I was hoping you'd have the fish talk, and then I didn't notice I was watching you draw. That's adorable. That's good.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
And also like, it's very obvious by the work you do that you don't just think about drawing something, you're doing it. I think
Mhm.
of the ideas, I'm sure other people do that too, but I think, oh, I should draw about this now that I was out there, but I think you've inspired me.
Awesome.
Okay, so we will change to, see if I can get,
Do you want me to stop sharing mine?
I have to stop sharing yours first,
That's
yes.
totally fine.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Let me stop share right now. Okay.
Okay.
See everyone else's.
And then I want to put it in. Gail, I have you up first. Let's see if I can ask to unmute that. Please, unmute, please. There you go. Wait, we've still got. Now we're ready.
Can you hear me?
We
Mhm.
can.
Okay, good. Corinne, this was great. I really enjoyed this, and I loved the comic that you drew. My comic is about a very recent trip I took just a few weeks ago to York, England, with my sister. So we found a scone place, like our second day there, and they had amazing scones.
Mhm.
So we went back twice. And so this is my sister. Here's the scone. She got a cappuccino, I got a cortado, and we both enjoyed our scone breakfasts. Here's a close-up of the scone.
I
Looks
love
like
drawing the food. You cannot go wrong with food drawings.
It was really good. And then on our first day there, we were sitting next to two really nice and interesting women, and we talked about art and music and books and movies. And one of them said, "Have you seen Rabbit Proof Fence? Uh, you should. It's great."
That's a
And
good.
that was just part of our conversation, but that was one of the things that we talked about. Unfortunately, our second day there, we didn't have quite such scintillating neighbors. Uh,
oh.
about whether or not they could defeat single-handedly 6,000 chickens. Now, I'm not sure if this is a thing. Like, is this an internet meme or something where people discuss or argue about
Yeah.
6,000 chickens? But that was the gist of their conversation. So we did not get involved in that discussion. Um, anyway, thanks.
Yeah,
This was really fun. I'm really looking forward to seeing what everybody else drew.
Awesome.
that's very good. You really captured that in that last panel facial expression, I think. Uh, okay, let's go to Allison. And one moment, let me see if I can get.
Ooh,
For
traditional media.
some reason, I'm doing. Um, okay. I lost Gail trying to get her off. If anybody. Hmm.
I can see
Oh,
Gail and Allison right now.
yes, I do. All of a sudden, my names went crazy on me. Hmm.
We're trying to just remove the spotlight.
Yes,
Did that work?
that did. Thank you. I couldn't see it or seeing it. Thank you.
I think you're still muted, Allison. I still can't hear.
Let me see if I can unmute you.
Mhm.
Okay.
Right. So
Okay.
what I'm did was my recent trip to New England. I went to visit my mother in Maine, and I was traveling on the train from Brunswick, Maine to Haverhill in Massachusetts to visit a friend to go birding. And I'm thinking on the train, is this the last time I'll ever see my mother? She's 92. I'm going back there on Tuesday, so I hope she still makes it. But by this point, I was already eager to get back to California. And I don't know why this is not in focus.
Tip your
Anyway,
top page a little forward. Yeah, a little more top of it. Yeah, that's better. Mm-hmm.
well, it isn't for me. I can't see it. Anyway,
Oh, okay. Do what you need. That's fine.
my friend Linda and I went out to Revere Beach and saw some Manx shearwaters on the water. And then a northern water thrush. I haven't seen one for 30 years. That was very cool. And then she and I went out for Mexican food before I had to get on a plane. And here we go. I am way too old to be sleeping on planes at this point. But I did get 3 seats, which was great.
Ooh.
But I wanted to just quickly show that I got laid off in 2013 and I did a train trip across the country and I did many drawings of this. And I think this is a great way to travel. Basically, take a sketchbook, take a minimalist approach and just go. So yeah.
Wow.
Just wanted to
Beautiful.
say
Yeah.
that. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. We have Bill.
Okay, I wish I could say that I'll remember to post this online, but the thing is, I could take the photograph today and I wouldn't have a chance to do anything until Sunday, by which time with my extreme attention deficit, I will forget. I really can't afford to travel. I've traveled because of my family a couple of times, but I can afford to go to Dandelion Springs Apiary, about 40 miles away, so long as I remember to bring the traffic cones this time and park in the field, not in the yard, because I will forget within seconds that a car parks next to me. And I don't trust the field of view of the backup camera. And I turned around behind me and I did something I've never done when parked between cars before or since. I turned my wheel and backed up into the other car and didn't know what was happening. I just heard a scraping sound. Well, it's worth going though, because they have free-range chickens and butterflies. They have over 50 beehives full of chiller bees, and my word balloon is bees say pollen, eh?
Wow.
And let's see.
Great animal drawings.
Well, thank you. Animals do get along out there, and part of the thing, what's going on is that the Autism Society of Central Virginia is working with a group called Free Horse Arts that does art and nature activities. So the kids are gonna get out there and learn things from the horses and work in the vegetable garden. And I have made beeswax candles by rolling up beeswax, or dipping a water balloon in melted beeswax and making a little candle that can only have a little electric candle in it because it would melt completely otherwise. And I'm planning to pick up more honey that I know is real. I have heard that there are a couple of things. Honey and olive oil, where there's a lot more of it sold than is actually produced.
Wow.
At least by label. But I know this stuff is real and it's $15 a pound, so it better be. So that's my trip. I wrote that the beehives look like little Soviet apartment blocks. These big rectangles. Oh, there you go. I hope you got a good look, because I know I will forget to post this. Hope you enjoyed that.
I love it. It's very it captures the vibe of the day that you had there.
Well, it's a few days. A few different days come together.
Thank you. That's my kind of trip right there. Yeah.
You're welcome.
And Hewitt.
Yes. Okay. So I did mine on my trip to Litchfield, Connecticut. I didn't pen in the lettering, so I'll read it out and show the images sort of after. So I went to Litchfield, Connecticut because I had started watching Gilmore Girls.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
apparently where it's set. And so I thought, nice idyllic little trip. Went to an inn, and there was a local art collector who specialized in folk art. And I thought it was just really cool, very local feeling. An interesting thing going around, I noticed everybody was dyed blonde. And so I looked kind of out of place there. Everybody would look at me. But I was more focused on a delicious meatloaf sandwich I had.
Ooh,
And,
I had meatloaf tonight.
yeah, it's a great meal. And most idyllic was the covered bridge and frozen waterfall deeper in the mountains that I'd encountered.
Ooh,
And there's
Ooh.
yeah.
and there's me sort of delaying the poor car to take a picture. So yeah, it was my trip.
Awesome.
Thank you. Oh, excuse me. Go ahead,
Oh,
Corinne.
I was gonna say a few people said it in the chat, but the
Yeah.
kind of simplified line drawings that you went with are very effective. It's
Mhm.
love it, yeah.
Mhm. And cheers to a meatloaf sandwich. Jackie, hi.
Sorry, mine ended up being pretty busy. It's all about the trip I had to make to Philly 2 years ago to see my mom right before she died. And this is, I mean, I've done a lot of travel comics that are like interesting and fun uh, in the past, but I've never really chronicled this whole thing. But yeah, there's my husband and I bickering about whether no, you should leave as soon as possible. And there's me at the airport, like because my daughter wanted to come with. I'm like, no, it's not the time for you to come. And at the airport, I saw the airport when I arrived there was this guest artist. There was a man writing poetry. So I asked him if he would write a poem for my mom who was in the hospital. He said, pick a word. I said, light. I have this poem in one of my sketchbooks somewhere.
Wow.
So there's some food. Pretzels are harder to draw than you would think.
They're easier to eat.
Because, yeah, it's Philly because Christmas. My brother picked me up and we were kind of bickering about where to go. We were kind of bickering on the expressway. If we go see mom, it might be blah, blah, blah. And then my stepfather calls and it goes over the Bluetooth and he says, you guys better get to the hospital now because we have hours, not days. And when we got to the parking garage, it was full. So I gave the attendant $20. Said our situation. I gave the attendant $20, and he mysteriously found a space for us. And this is, I love you, Mom. I love you too, sweetheart. And Penn Hospital was a real class act. They gave us this fruit tray, like this food tray while we were waiting. And it's just what I focused on because I didn't want to draw my mom.
Mhm.
And then here's the just in time, and then here's the nurse. Like, I'm so sorry. So just, yeah, the details.
Thank you
So,
for sharing. The sequential artwork is really strong, I think, within the car.
thank you.
I really liked that, yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, this was a really meaningful workshop. So thanks, Corinne.
Of course. Thank you for
You,
coming.
Jackie. Karen? Hi.
I'm actually going to share my screen because I did mine digitally, if you don't mind. But here's
Sure.
a travel comic, if you can see that. Okay, participants cannot see. Perfect. It was a recent trip, a road trip I did that was like maybe a week and a half long, starting from my home here in Long Beach, all the way through the Pacific Northwest and back. So I was really inspired by those little maps you get when you do like a city tour or you like go to a museum, you get a little pamphlet and they have all the points of interest drawn out and it's like often very beautifully illustrated. I always loved looking at those. So I thought that's what I would little personal points of interest, including visiting friends. I overnighted in Mount Shasta, so here's my like dialogue panel. I was talking to the mountain, which was unmoved by my admiration. Stopped in Portland for a good sandwich, went to Seattle, had another little moment where I sent a photo on top of the Space Needle to all my friends, and they made fun of me for looking like I was nervous for being up there because I was. Over to Spokane, down to Bend, and then right back to San Jose, California, where I immediately almost got taken out by a crazy driver, which is how I knew I was home in California. I like it being a little informational, so I have my final stats here pulled right from a photo I took of my car's like dashboard because I was recording it. I zeroed the odometer when I left my house and then checked again when I came back, and it was almost 3,000 miles. It was a crazy trip, but I had a lot of fun. And yeah, drawing this is a lot of fun too.
Awesome. I really liked the way you did use your panels as kind of to highlight a very specific moment within the kind of larger like trip in general. I really enjoyed that. And it was mostly you and your reaction to something, which I think is also effective.
That's what I was going to say, your reaction to everything, the cars on two wheels. I used to collect those tour maps, and when I was in the fourth grade, would send for all sorts of things out in the world, and then I don't travel as an adult. Uh, okay, we'll move on to Judith. Hi,
Hi.
Judith.
Let me see if I can change it to, great. Okay, so always there's not enough time, so it starts to degrade towards the second. I have gone across the country on Amtrak numerous times, and actually there's a book that I ended up illustrating. The text is by poet Cecil Giscombe. It's published by Omnidon, and it's called Train Music, Writing, and Pictures. So it's my art and his, and that happened after a number of we both like train rides. We're friends, and we took one together, which was kind of interesting. Anyway, if you've ever taken Amtrak, if you get a roomette, you know that it's like having a little studio. So this is what happened. One of these trips, I had started in New York and I ended up in Chicago, and then there's a long wait over in Chicago. And because I had this big suitcase because I was going to be traveling for a long time, and I allowed myself to be carried by the cart to the train, which I usually don't buy. I usually schlep the bag, but I was I was feeling old. And I was standing next to this family of a mom, a grandma, and a daughter. And grandma and I got to talking, and it turns out we're the same age, right? So we're waiting and we get the ride, and then I get settled in my room, which is, let's see if I can see this. The studio, it's like the little roomette is my studio, and I'm drawing and drawing all the time. And during the day, it's a little table, and then at night they come and make it into a bed. And then we're at the dining, because we liked each other. I sat at the dining hall with them, and we had dinner together. I considered them my new friends. And then we stopped in Minneapolis at midnight, and we're waiting in the station, and I hear yelling from down the car, and someone is yelling, "Help, help, she's not breathing." And I could hear that, and I'm in my room by myself, and I'm thinking, uh-oh. And then there's they stopped for a while, and then an ambulance arrived, and then it continued, and it turned out that grandma had a heart attack. And so then the next morning, I'm at the table by myself, and I'm drawing and thinking. And I'm thinking, uh-oh, she's the same age as me. So there, that happened. And I'm planning to do it again this summer, or in the fall rather, to go across the country again. But this time I want to go completely around. And that's it. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you for sharing. That's a really powerful memory from a trip. I liked how you ended it with kind of that you framed it with meeting her and then the final thing of like reflecting on her and the similarity you had. That's yeah.
Well, it's kind of upsetting when that happens, but what can you do?
Yes, that was well done. Thank you. Maxine, hi.
Hello. Okay, so let's see. I have mine here. Let's see, is there maybe? Just hold it up here. So this was basically my, I might turn off the background thing. Let me do that. Well, hopefully it'll show up.
Yeah, just like that works. That looks pretty good.
Okay. Yeah, so this was basic. Oh gosh. This was basically this morning. I had gone. Yeah, let me try to fix it. I'm sorry. I didn't realize that would happen.
Someone in chat said turn off blur.
There we go. I found it. Yeah, sorry, I'm using my iPad because
Thank
I'm
you, Bill.
actually on a trip right now, and
Oh,
so I'm not used to the Zoom. There we go. Whew. Okay, there. That's better.
mhm.
So yeah. So this was basically my trip through the TSA checkpoint this morning. It was one where I got to the airport like a long time before what it was. Like I had already been waiting for yeah, like 35 minutes there, and it's like getting closer to the time on to boarding, and I look up and we finally get to like the start of the checkpoint area, and it's like you have like 48 minutes and I've got like 55 minutes to boarding. So it was like a stressful time going through security, but yeah, so just like some of the like anxiety I had going through security on the top side there, and then you could see I just kind of went and put like where I was on the plane to kind of like show kind of just like it being full up with people, and that the plane ride wasn't too bad, and I got to do some reading, so that was nice. But yeah, that was basically my trip journal of this morning. I haven't actually like gotten to do very much fun stuff because I've mostly been sleeping. I've gotten to hang out with some friends, so that's been really fun. But
Mhm. I like that picture in a picture look.
Mhm. Yeah, it's very effective. And I like the limited color palette. I think that's working really well, the blue and the red. Some people have commented on the style and the color as well.
Right. Thank you so much.
thank you.
Um, Julie, it's asking me if you'd like me to put you in the waiting room. No, we wouldn't. What happened to my notes?
No.
Hmm. Oh, there it is. I'm so sorry you had to wait, Julie. And then if you could unmute, there you are.
Okay, great. Hi. Yeah, I drew mine on so I took a trip to Seoul last month, and I was trying to see if I could find any like unique activities that I could do while I was there. And I saw that me and my friend, we saw that they were showing a concert movie in 4DX. And so I was really excited to try going to a movie theater in another country and seeing what that experience was like. And so, like for context, like they have like these meal sets that you can buy um, uh, along like before you go in to the theater, and I was like, oh, that's really fun. I'd love to eat a nice meal while watching my movie. But I totally forgot that it's not just a typical movie, it's in 4DX. So this is me at the start, and I'm just like really excited to see this movie. But then once it starts, you know, the chair is like throwing me back and forth, and I'm just trying to eat my meal, and I'm yeah, and they even had like, you know, like in the, I guess like on your chair, like behind you, they like spray water at you at certain moments. And it's just like, yeah, I'm like, well, maybe don't eat a meal while you're trying to watch a movie in 4D, but it was really fun. otherwise. Yeah. Yeah.
That's funny. The moment to moment is really effective there. So
Mhm.
great job with that and showing the motion and how crazier and crazier it got with trying to eat.
Yeah, great.
Thanks.
Eli, hello. Just saw you Wednesday,
Hi.
didn't
Hello, you
I?
did. I was a little overly ambitious with this. We're traveling across the United States from San Francisco to where my parents live in Missouri. Um, 2008, I decided to see, oh, there we are, to see if I could take my truck across the country using only biodiesel. That was the new fad at the time. And so I had a truck that could supposedly take biodiesel. So I was going to figure out how to not use regular gas. Um, so I was all excited. I got my car all packed up. I had all these carboys full of biodiesel for spots where I couldn't probably get any that would go about 100 miles. And I had my little dancing queen thing on. I was all ready to go, super excited, ready to start my trip. And I instantly hit like the most horrible traffic jam on the Bay Bridge. And it took me like, I don't know, forever, like 2 hours to get across it. So my trip started with a traffic jam. And I was still in a traffic jam around Lake Tahoe. And so we were just kind of crawling along through the mountains. And there's this beautiful river off to the side where, because I was driving so slow, I could see there was a very tan gentleman nude sunbathing on one of the rocks on the river where like thousands and thousands of people going by could see him. And then I got to the campground really late and I kind of couldn't find it. And it was in Nevada and it was really windy and the hammock was blowing around and I thought it was going to just like flip me over onto the ground. So I went into my truck to go. Also, I was kind of scared to just camp in the middle of nowhere by myself. So I locked myself in my truck. And then I went to Utah, through Utah, and for miles and miles and miles away, you could see this huge smokestack, just like huge, right outside Salt Lake City. And it turns out it's attached to the biggest copper mine in the world. I think you can see it from space. And so I stopped to tour that. It was very depressing and also impressive. And then I traveled through Wyoming, which is a beautiful state. There's not very many people who live there, and it's got a huge array of landscapes. And there's a town in the what's happening here? There's a town in the middle of Utah, of Wyoming, called Thermopolis, and it's sort of this old tourist town that's not a thing anymore because the freeway took away all their business. But there's all these thermal features there, and so all these senior citizens camp out there in RV parks and then go to the whatevers, the little bathhouses, and these old guys sit in steamy tubs full of mineral water. While I was camping there, I didn't realize I had put my tent right next to a geyser, so that woke me up in the middle of the night and it alarmed me because it's not safe. Try to make it fast. We're only going to go halfway across the country. Wyoming was my favorite state because it had like these beautiful red rock deserts, and then there was also this high like alpine mountains with wildflowers all over the place. And then down on the east side of Wyoming, there was, I can't remember the name of the town, but they have pink roads because I think the stone that they use that they mix in with the cement has like a pink color to it. And I ran into this guy at his farm stand who I bought some corn from him, and he also pushed on me this horrible anti-Semitic conspiracy theory religious tape that he wanted me to listen to. And he seemed kind of like a serial killer, so I just accepted it and then threw it away when I drove away. And then Devil's Tower is right there too, and that's really flat there, but you see this like little pimple off in the distance, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and then all of a sudden you've got Devil's Tower. My truck broke down in South Dakota because biodiesel ruined my fuel hoses and my fuel pump. And so all my fuel dumped out onto the highway right near the Corn Palace in Pierre, South Dakota. And that's where I decided that's enough of the trip. Otherwise, I'd be with you guys tonight. But anyway, thanks. That was fun.
Wow. Got a lot done.
Did I?
Yes.
You really did.
Yeah. Okay.
Great job.
Thank you. Michaela, we will start with you. First, I'm going to say, make sure you're unmuted. Yes, you are. We have roughly 7 more people. We have about 5 minutes. Make sure to put your comics on social media if you like at hashtag Friday Night Comics, or you can post them at seesawcomics.org if you have them posted by Sunday. The other thing is, anybody here new that we have left? Emma, Elias, Yvonne, Sarah, Julia, Jim, and Edgar. Anybody new that hasn't got the show yet, we'll make sure you get a spot. Nope. Okay. Let's just continue then with Michaela. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to share my screen if I could. Can you see it?
Yes, looks
Yeah,
wonderful.
looks like it. So, travel comics, it's like my whole life is one big travel comic. So there was a lot of episodes to choose from. And so I picked one, like a really simple touristy moment.
Oh.
For many years during the 1990s and 2000s, I took my adoptive mom on trips to Wrocław in Poland. And that's a whole big story that I don't need to get into. But just to say, she was born there and she was German and they were expelled from there, at the end of the war. So she was a refugee from there. And then in the 90s, you could start going back there. The last time we went, she was really tired when we arrived, but she wanted to go out. We had this really terrible, like this really small room. And she was, what was her age back then? She was like 78 at this point. So I ran back out into the heat and I hired a horse carriage, actually that's cut off on the bottom here. And so we took this carriage trip and she couldn't relax at first. She's like hanging on for dear life. But afterwards she was super relaxed and softened towards me. Whatever else happened that trip, this was a nice moment.
I love your
So
style. Thank you.
thank you. This is a fun prompt.
Elias.
Hello.
Hello.
I can't believe I made it under the wire, but I'll share. I did a trip to Paris that I made last month. So let's see if I can do this. So it's hard to read. It says, finally à Jacques Pont-Sargent, proud of myself for not taking a taxi, which is my friend's subway stop. And then I walked up Magenta to L'Ancre to her street. And there's a little spiral because she lives on the 5th floor walk up. And then the next day, she was wearing these shorts, and she's a textile artist. And she said, "Oh, you like them?" I'll just translate. She says, "Oh, you like them? Do you want to make some for yourself?" And I said, "Yes, I did. I don't know how to use a sewing machine, for the record." And it says at her workshop. Oh no, this is before it. I complimented her shorts. So the next day, we set out for Marché Saint-Pierre in Montmartre to find the perfect fabric. So you can buy their coupons, which are just little, like the end pieces. It's like a meter or two. I wanted linen, and I wrote, I wanted linen, and I found the perfect one. So that's this one here with the arrow. This is a picture of me. It says newly shaved head, my favorite shirt, and a pattern we found on L'Ancre. And then this is some of the supplies. My friend said she had the Mercedes-Benz of fabric scissors. I believe her. Some pins, and then there's a little X here, and it says Curtis never measures. And then so it says using hers as a pattern first, sewing, and then I kind of cheated and I used text for my third panel. It says too small, added side panels. Too big, made them smaller. And then it took me a while. I mean, we did other stuff too, but after more than a week, is my shorts that I came home with. I was so proud of. They had drawstring, pockets, and French overlock seams. So I just tried to focus on that one aspect of the trip.
Yeah.
Awesome. I loved it. And text and panel is totally valid. You can totally get away with that.
Thank you. I think I have more time than I do, so I'm trying to. It gets simpler at the end, but thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll try quickly to Yvonne. Hello.
Hi. Mine's just like kind of a quick sketch. My husband and I went on a motorcycle like road trip about 10 years ago. And we live in California, so we went down Highway 1. And so it's kind of the black and white doesn't do the colors justice. So like I am considering doing recreating this in watercolor, sorry. So the second panel is just I kind of just did like a wide shot of what that looks like. And we ended up going to a winery. And so it's kind of the road going into the winery at the end. Yeah. I think I'm gonna do something with that a little bit more.
Yeah, I'd love to see it colored in. And I really like that she had the text follow the road too. That was really cool.
Thank you. We're going to see how many we can push through a few more minutes here. Thank you.
Hi. So this is from many years ago, a trip to Ireland, to a small island where I lived doing willing workers on organic farms on Inishmore, and with devil geese.
Nice.
And I really loved the water, the island. It looked like it was covered in tentacles from a kraken. I climbed down into the wormhole, which is insanely dangerous and should have killed me, but it didn't. And I climbed down wearing clogs, extra crazy. And I spent hours and hours drawing. I lived right up the hill from the westernmost cemetery of Europe, and so I spent hours and hours with a ruler drawing that cross. And looking back, I think it's funny that I did this insane thing wearing clogs, but I had to draw with a ruler.
That's awesome.
Great work.
Really looks good. Let's see. Let's do. Okay, it's not letting me show. Miska's for some reason.
Isn't Edgar in front of me?
There it is. My screen moved on me. I'm so sorry, Edgar. We'll get back to you. Oh, there's Edgar. She's being.
Why don't you do
Let's
Edgar?
try
You
Edgar.
want to do Edgar?
Mishka, you go first, and then if
Okay.
there's time, I'll join in. Okay, well, I'll see what I can do here.
Okay.
And this is mine. It's called On the Road to Juliet Launch Controls Center, 1977 and 1981. Let me go down here. As a young Air Force lieutenant and later captain at the 44th Strategic Missile Wing at Ellsworth Air Force Base, I was part of a two-man crew who would drive out to one of 15 launch control centers. There's my first commander, Richard K. Ryder. Let's stop at Wall Drug. And I, as a deputy, say, okay. We're in a dark blue Suburban wagon. Depending on the area, we might stop at Bill and Ted's Houston's Wall Drug Store. Look that one up. He says, I had the same dream again. I was a little bird flying up to a high window that was closed. I know you want to perform in a band, Rick. We go down to, although Ellsworth is known as the banana belt of the North, winter would often bring snow snakes along the highway and horizontal snow. So there's the suburban driving out to the site. We would spend 24 hours underground in a cold and noisy launch control center. Then when we did turn over the next day with the relief crew, we drove back to base. And Rick says, Edgar, last night I dreamed the little bird flew up to the window and it was open and I flew out to freedom. Rick was allowed to finish his 4-year tour by serving in the Air Force Reserve. So there's more to it, but those are the highlights.
Thank you.
You bet.
So much. Let's see. Let me get everybody to I'm trying to use my finger on the screen. I shouldn't do that. It's not working half the time.
Everyone's work is
Okay,
good.
we got you off the spotlight. Thank you. Everybody's back.
Thank you so much. Really
That
great.
was wonderful. So many good stories in these travels. And even though I don't travel much, I can go my 10 minutes away or my hour away and still come up with good stories, I think. Wow, I can't
Thank you
believe.
so much, Corinne.
Of course.
Wonderful.
So it's so inspiring seeing everybody's different approaches to it. It makes me want to make more. Like this was really fantastic and everyone did such a great job. And I hope you come out with this, maybe making more travel comics in your life in the future or continuing to make them.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much.
Thank you.
You.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Be sure to post on
Thank you so
social
much.
media. # Friday Night Comics, seesawcomics.org.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you.